Next General NYC Season 2 Episode 10 Review. The ski trip was cold, but the drama was hot. Next General NYC Season 2, Episode 10, You win 'em, you lose some. Well, somebody packed the ski boots, the winter coats, the relationship problems, and apparently an entire suitcase full of unresolved feelings because Next General NYC just took us to Wyndham, and baby, the temperature wasn't the only thing dropping. Season 2, Episode 10, titled, You win 'em, you lose some, had everything you expect from this group. Friendship confusion, romantic confusion, business confusion, questionable decisions, people talking about people who weren't in the room, and enough awkward energy to power Manhattan for a week. The crew heads upstate for what is supposed to be a fun ski weekend. You know how that works on reality television. Somebody says, this is going to be fun, and approximately 7 minutes later somebody is crying, somebody is mad, and somebody is saying, that's not what I said. And this time, Liam Obergefell is the one learning that sometimes you can plan the vacation, but you cannot plan the drama. The official episode description says Liam's ski weekend plans quickly go sideways as he deals with rumors surrounding Ariana Bierman and Charlie Zachor, while Georgia McCann's cleaning company creates its own set of problems. An offhand joke involving Shy also turns serious. Translation: nobody came to Wyndham to mind their business. And honestly, thank goodness. The ski trip from hell, but make it cute. Let's start with the trip. Liam apparently wanted a fun weekend. Skiing, friends, snow, romance, maybe a little quality time with Ariana. What he got was basically Bravo's version of a group project where nobody read the instructions. The biggest issue starts with accommodations. When you put a bunch of young adults together in limited rooms, you might as well throw a lit match into a gasoline station. Everybody suddenly has an opinion about who should sleep where. And let's be honest, nobody on reality television has ever said, oh, I don't care where I sleep. Put me wherever. Absolutely not. Everybody wants the best room. Everybody wants privacy. Everybody wants to be close to the person they like. And everybody wants to pretend they don't care. That last part is my favorite. Liam finds himself dealing with something much bigger than room assignments, though. He has Ariana. He has Charlie. He has rumors. And he has feelings. That's a dangerous combination. Ariana, Liam and Charlie, here we go again. If you thought the Ariana, Liam, Charlie situation was going to calm down, please stand up so I can personally ask what show you've been watching. Because this love triangle, or friendship triangle, situationship triangle, whatever we're calling it this week, is still very much alive. Ariana's relationship status continues to be one of the biggest sources of conversation among the group. And Charlie appears to have developed a very special relationship with the phrase. Let me just tell everybody what happened. Sir, please, not every thought needs a press release. The tension surrounding Ariana and Charlie grows after Charlie brings up Ariana's late-night visit to his apartment. That revelation becomes fuel for even more questions about what exactly is happening between them. And this is where I started yelling at my television. Because Ariana is trying to explain her position, Liam is trying to understand his position, and Charlie is standing somewhere in the middle holding the gossip like it's a microphone. Everybody has a different version of what the relationship means. Ariana maintains that she and Charlie aren't romantically involved, while also making it clear that she and Liam are exclusive, but she doesn't necessarily define them as dating in the traditional sense. Now listen, I don't know about y'all, but if somebody tells me we're exclusive, but we're not dating, I'm going to need a PowerPoint presentation. Slide 1. What are we? Slide 2. What are you telling your friends? Slide 3. Why is Charlie involved? Slide 4. Do I need to sit down? Because chilly. This is complicated. Liam's, I love you, moment. And then we get to Liam. Poor Liam. He's trying to navigate all of this while clearly having much stronger feelings than the situation may be ready to handle. At one point, Liam tells Ariana that he loves her. And Ariana's reaction, let's just say the room temperature wasn't the only thing giving winter. The moment creates even more tension between them. Liam seems emotionally invested. Ariana appears overwhelmed. And I'm sitting here thinking, baby, this is not the time for a Hallmark movie. The emotional disconnect between them is fascinating because Liam appears to want clarity while Ariana seems to be trying to figure out what she actually wants. And that's a very different place to be. Love can be beautiful. Love can be romantic. Love can also make you completely ignore every red flag waving in your face. And reality television has never met a red flag it didn't want to film in high definition. Charlie. The gossip department is open. Let's talk about Charlie. Because every group needs that one person who knows everything. And sometimes that person knows things because people trust them. Other times, because they are standing near the drama with their ears open. Charlie has become one of the major sources of tension this season, particularly when it comes to Ariana. His comments about Ariana and Liam only make an already complicated situation even messier. And the problem with gossip is that once it leaves your mouth, you don't control where it goes. You can say, I only told one person. That person tells another person. That person tells their best friend. Their best friend tells somebody at brunch. Somebody posts about it, and suddenly your private conversation is trending. Welcome to New York. Georgia has her own mess. While everybody else is busy worrying about romance, Georgia has her own problems. Because apparently she said, I'm going to focus on my business. And the universe responded, absolutely not. Georgia's cleaning company becomes another source of tension during the episode. Her business ambitions have been an important part of her storyline, and watching her figure out how to turn an idea into an actual brand has been one of the more interesting aspects of her journey. But business is messy. Friends have opinions. Family has opinions. Customers have opinions. And then there's the dreaded question. Who is actually running this thing? Georgia finds herself having to deal with questions about the inner workings of the company. And that's when things get real. Because it is one thing to have an idea. It is another thing to build a business. And it's an entirely different thing to build a business while cameras are following you and everybody around you has something to say. Her father, Seth Marks, even weighs in on her business and reminds her that she is essentially the brand. That's good advice. But reality TV advice usually comes with a side of drama. The Shy situation. Then we have Shy. At first, something involving him seems like a joke. Then the joke becomes serious. And this is one of those moments where you realize that in a friend group this complicated, nothing is ever just a joke. Especially when everybody already has unresolved feelings. Shy has spent much of this season trying to navigate friendships that are constantly shifting. He has found himself caught between different people, different loyalties, and different versions of the truth. Earlier in the season, his decision to pass information about Ariana to her ex Hudson created serious consequences for his relationships with the group. Now he is dealing with even more tension. At some point, you have to wonder. Shy, are you trying to make friends or audition for the position of group secretary? Because somehow the information is always circulating. And somehow his name is always attached. Chilly, I would be changing my phone number. Brooks and Shy, another friendship on thin ice. Brooks Marks has also had his own issues with Shy this season. Their relationship has been tested repeatedly, especially around Brooks's fashion work and Shy's involvement. Brooks has made it clear that he doesn't want to constantly feel like he's walking on eggshells. And honestly, I understand that. Friendship should not feel like a hostage negotiation. If every conversation requires a lawyer, 3 witnesses and a producer standing nearby, maybe it's time to take a break. Brooks has been one of the people trying to establish himself creatively, and his struggles with his brand have added another layer to his storyline. He's trying to figure out who he is professionally while also figuring out who he can trust personally. That's a very relatable conflict. The "Everybody Needs to Mind Their Business" award. If I had to hand out an award for this episode, it would go to everybody. Everybody needs to mind their business. Ariana's relationship. Everybody has an opinion. Liam's feelings. Everybody has an opinion. Charlie definitely has an opinion. George's company. Everybody has an opinion. Shy, Chilly, people are still talking. This friend group needs a group chat called "Please Stop Talking About Me." And then they need to mute it. The shady Secret Santa. And just when you thought things couldn't get messier, the group gets into a shady Secret Santa. Because apparently regular Secret Santa wasn't toxic enough. I need Bravo to understand something. Secret Santa with friends is already dangerous. Secret Santa with reality stars. That's basically psychological warfare wrapped in Christmas paper. You already know somebody isn't getting a thoughtful candle. Somebody is getting a gift with a message. Somebody is getting something shady. And somebody is going to say, "I don't care," while clearly caring very deeply. And that is exactly why I watch. My biggest problem with this episode. My biggest issue with episode 10 is that everyone seems to want clarity while simultaneously creating more confusion. Ariana wants people to understand her situation. Liam wants emotional reassurance. Charlie wants to discuss Ariana. Georgia wants to build her business. Shy wants to maintain friendships. Brooks wants respect. Everybody wants something. But nobody seems to want to sit down, communicate clearly and leave the room without creating another problem. And honestly, that's reality television. If these people solved their problems efficiently, the episode would be 22 minutes long. My favorite part of the episode. The emotional complexity between Ariana and Liam was probably the strongest part of the episode for me. Their relationship is interesting because it isn't simply boy likes girl. There are feelings, expectations, definitions, boundaries and other people involved. Liam clearly wants something deeper. Ariana seems to be approaching the relationship differently. And Charlie's presence makes everything 10 times more complicated. That makes the storyline frustrating, but also compelling. You don't necessarily have to agree with everybody's decisions to understand why the situation keeps pulling you back in. Who was being messy? Let's be honest. Charlie. Messy. Very messy. The man knows how to drop information into a room and watch everybody react. Ariana. Not necessarily messy, but definitely complicated. Her relationship situation is confusing enough to keep the entire cast employed. Liam. Emotional. Maybe too emotional for the situation. But at least his feelings appear genuine. Georgia. Trying to focus on business while everybody else is focused on drama. Respect. Shy. Sir. Please stop collecting everybody's secrets. Brooks. Trying to protect his peace and his brand. Honestly, I can't blame him. Episode 10 rating. 8.5/10. I'm giving Next General NYC Season 2, Episode 10 an 8.5 out of 10. Why? Because this episode delivered what the show does best. Friendship drama, romance, business, gossip, awkward conversations, emotional moments, and people making decisions that will probably be discussed again at the reunion. The ski trip setting also gave the episode a different atmosphere. Instead of the usual New York nightlife, restaurants and apartments, we got snow, shared accommodations and a group of people who desperately needed personal space. And nothing says, friendship test, like putting 12 people in a winter house and expecting them to behave. Final thoughts. You win 'em, you lose some, is another reminder that the biggest problem on Next General NYC isn't the snow. It's communication. This group talks constantly, but somehow nobody is actually saying exactly what they mean. Ariana and Liam need to figure out what they are. Charlie needs to figure out when to stop talking. Georgia needs to keep building her business and not let the drama distract her. Shy needs to stop becoming the middleman. Brooks needs to keep protecting his creative vision. And the entire cast needs to learn the magical phrase. That's none of my business. But would they? Absolutely not. Because then what would we watch? The episode ends with plenty of unresolved energy, which means we're not done with these storylines yet. And considering Bravo has already teased that Ariana and Liam's relationship continues to be a major topic, there's clearly more to come. That's the beauty, and the curse, of Next General NYC. These people are young. They're figuring life out. They're building careers. They're falling in love. They're breaking up. They're making mistakes. They're repairing friendships. And sometimes they're doing all of that in the same afternoon. The drama doesn't feel finished. It feels like we're somewhere in the middle of the hurricane. And I'm grabbing my popcorn. Because if episode 10 was this messy, I already know the reunion is going to need a fire extinguisher, a therapist, 3 producers and somebody's mama sitting backstage. Bravo, bring everybody back to that couch. And please make sure Charlie has a microphone. Actually, maybe don't. We already have enough problems. What did you think? Was Charlie being messy? Do you understand Ariana and Liam's relationship? Was Liam moving too fast with his feelings? Should Ariana and Charlie's friendship be questioned? Is George's business storyline one of the strongest parts of the season? And most importantly, WHO needs to mind their business the most. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Fire like this post if you're watching Next General NYC. Speech balloon comment your favorite moment from episode 10. Eyes tell me who you think is being the messiest this season. Cell phone with arrow share this post with another Bravo fan who lives for the drama. And don't forget to come back for the Next General NYC Season 2 recap, because if this group keeps moving like this, we're going to need a whole emergency meeting before the reunion. Hashtag NextGenNYC #NextGenEC Season 2 #Bravo #Bravo TV #Ariana Bierman #Liam Obergfol #Charlie Zakor #Georgia McCann #Shy Fruchter #Brooks Marks #Reality TV #Reality TV Drama #Bravo Fans #Bravo Addict #Reality TV Recap